Today, we're reacting to the Gilas versus Qatar game coming up. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Boleros. Sam here with the Sultan of Sando, Gab Lim, and Mr. Maui Yap. What's up, guys?
What's up? Finally, Gilas is back! And with
Gilas
a
is
thrilling
back.
win!
That was an exciting game. Pag-uusapan natin yan. So, since wala tayong masyadong UAAP na pag-uusapan, actually, I stand corrected. Meron tayong onting mga UAAP news na pag-uusapan. Stay tuned for that. But for now, let's talk about that Gilas come from behind win against Qatar early this morning. And then, as we're recording this video, it's already 9:30 p.m. on a Saturday. I think at 11, they'll have another game against Lebanon. So stay tuned for that. We'll talk about that game too. Pero I just want to get your reactions, Gab and Maui. Ano yung reactions nyo seeing Gilas for the first time after losing Kai Soto? We weren't sure how they would adapt. We knew they got Troy Rosario. How did they look for you? Let's start with you, Gab.
At first, a little bit rusty. Now, I think the live stream was not able to televise the first quarter. I don't know. I watched the replay, so I think it was only the second quarter yung naabutan ko, yung the live stream. At least that was the one uploaded on YouTube. But in from what I saw, the place still looked intact. I think from having these guys together for a prolonged period already, for multiple windows already, you can see the effect of having these same guys together. They know the plays, they know what to run, they know where each player is supposed to be on the court. They know what picks to set when it goes to the post or when it goes to the wing or when it goes to the top of the key. They know what to run. So I like that. Now you can see a bit of rust. As I said, there were a ton of turnovers. There were guys who were thrust into rotation roles who weren't in the rotation in the previous windows. Kevin Kiambao, first and foremost. But overall, you saw a faster, more athletic Gilas, primarily because AJ Edu was now the center.
Finally, AJ Edu got to play.
Yeah, AJ Edu got to play, I think, for the first time since the World Cup. If you remember, he did play in the World Cup.
First time under Tim Cone din.
Yep. And he looked great. As I said, they looked more athletic. They looked faster. They rotated better, especially in that fourth quarter. AJ Edu played the entire fourth quarter. I think he was the difference maker. He had his fingerprints all over this game, especially in that fourth quarter. They did not sub in Junmar Farder after his third quarter. It was purely AJ Edu at the 5, surrounded by two wings or taller forwards in KQ and it was KQ / Oftana and then Justin Brownlee and then their two guards. So the switching on the defensive end, the recovery of the picks, they did not go under picks. They fought through picks. The shot contest by AJ Edu, the defense just looked hella better with AJ Edu there. And I think I had the same observation also in the World Cup when AJ Edu played center instead of Kai. We looked a lot better because AJ Edu can switch on the perimeter. AJ Edu you can recover from shot contests. AJ Edu you can recover from being from the weak side and suddenly contest yung a shot from yung on the strong side. He's just a way more athletic guy. I'm glad to see that the injuries have not slowed down his athleticism and his speed in recovering towards the ball. So I like seeing that. The third quarter was rough. For me, yun yung pinaka masakit na quarter na panoorin of this game. I think Gilas scored only 13 points in the entire quarter. Ton of turnovers, ton of missed shots. They could not get anything to fall on the offensive end. Plus, they were allowing Qatar to get a ton of open looks, especially drives at the basket, shots on the perimeter. It reminded, I forgot the name of their point guard, their small point guard. Hindi si Lewis. It wasn't Lewis who was dismantling the Gilas defense in the third quarter. It was their other guard who did kind of the Marcelino Huertas thing in the uh, Olympic qualifier in Latvia. Just pick and rolling Gilas to death. Just over and over, pick and roll, get to an open shot from the top of the key and then knocking it down. That was a ton of the offense in the third quarter for Qatar. But overall, for just in the context of this being their first game, I was happy. I was pretty happy. I still love that we're involving a lot of off-ball movement in the offense. It's not purely a ton of isolations. And what made me happy, for the most part of this game, this was a bad Justin Brownlee game. I think he only attempted 3 shots heading to the fourth quarter. He had only attempted 3 shots, all from three. He only had one point heading into the fourth quarter. And we were only down like what, 8? If I remember correctly, 8 heading into the fourth quarter. So that's a good thing. I love the offense that was coming from the other players, CJ Perez, Dwight Ramos, especially in the first half, led the team in scoring with 11 points. I love the passing that was happening, especially from Dwight Ramos, even from Scottie Thompson. And if we can survive without Justin Brownlee being a hero, I think we're good, especially in the close game. That is a statement. Because we all know the story of Gilas since Tim Cohn took over. In close games, we tend to default a lot to giving it to JB. JB tried to get us out of this, tried to carry us home. And the fact that JB did not have to do that in this game, actually it was mostly Dwight Ramos in the home stretch of the fourth quarter. So that's a good thing for Gilas. And my other takeaway is perhaps a big thing. Shout out to the Filipinos in Qatar, bro. In Doha. Coming out.
Parang home court no?
Parang home court. Exactly. It was such a pleasure to watch. And you wouldn't know that they were in Qatar playing against Qatar because that was, I would say, around 99% Filipinos there cheering for Gilas. Maybe a 1% people from Qatar yung cheering their own team. So shout out to the Filipinos in Qatar for showing up and cheering for Gilas Pilipinas. But I love the win. I hope they carry this on to the game later against Lebanon. I hope to see the same sharpness on offense and less turnovers. I do hope we get to see the same AJ Edu. I love what I saw from AJ Edu. Despite not him scoring much, he was the player of the game for me. He just made the difference in that fourth quarter, especially defensively. Maui.
Ako main concern ko lang it's a game against Qatar and it was a thrilling game. 'Di ba? Kasi expectations natin sa Gilas right now is sky high. after the good performance Olympic qualifier and then after that good performance against New Zealand. But as I've said off air to you guys, medyo questionable ang lineup ng Qatar. I think they had 2 imports if I'm not mistaken. If my math is correct, at least 2 imports yesterday. But still you can really see yung struggle ng yung drop off ng Gilas offense without that without Kai Soto yesterday, 'di ba? Kasi I think si Kai Soto has been our focal point, I would say, ng offense natin outside of Brownlee, 'di ba? Kai Soto gives us a different dimension on the offensive end with his passing, scoring, slashing, post-up game. It's sad kasi we finally saw AJ Edu play for Gilas and I think for the past year or so, I think ever since Tim Cohn took the helm and Kai Soto broke out, we've been waiting for them to share the court together, 'di ba? We want to see them. I think the last time we saw them together is the World Cup, but Kai Soto was banged up. So maybe yung last time talaga na healthy yung both of them was during their under 16 or under 17 days. 'Di ba? Kai Soto, that's crazy.
Tagal na.
'Di ba? How old is AJ Edu and Kai Soto now, 'di ba? Late going to their middle 20s. So the hope is that eventually both of them get healthy at some point, di ba? Kasi we saw how AJ Edu affects the game in a multitude of ways, especially on the defensive end. I love what I saw. I love yung motor niya. Even yung passing niya ng fourth quarter led to some easy baskets, including, I think, a very thunderous Justin Brownlee dunk.
Yep.
But that's how we love AJ Edu, diba? He's basically a guy you can just plug in and play and expect to put his imprint in the game in a multitude of ways. I love how si Kevin Cambao was able to get minutes nung second half, especially nung crunch time. But I didn't like that si Tamayo wasn't utilized that much nung second half. Maybe the bad matchup, as you mentioned, Gab, was one of the main reasons why he couldn't really crack the rotation during yesterday's game. Another reaction is I like how Tim Cone is expanding the pool despite only including si Ralph Koo and AJ Abarientos. Thank God that Ginebra was able to draft RJ Abarientos. Diba? Kasi I think they really have to add people in the pool. I'm actually shocked si Dwight Ramos, who was the player of the game yesterday, was able to play. Kasi he got injured, I think, nung last game niya sa Japan. Finally, si RJ Abarientos is part of the pool. I think that we have to expand the pool with all of these injuries going around. Diba? That's something you can't control kasi that just happens with these guys playing in different leagues. I am happy that finally si Japit Aguilar can take a breather. Diba? Hopefully si Fajardo can also do the same in some of these non-bearing games.
Diba? I think he's still there or as a
Andun pa rin.
coach or something.
Andun pa rin si Japit. Si Fajardo should be resting in some of these games, diba? Kasi these games should be used for practice right now. I hope that si Tamayo and Kiambao get more minutes, the young guns. Maybe si Malonzo also, since he's been out for a while. Our next two games in FIBA, not just in this Doha tournament, are non-bearing games since we've already qualified for FIBA Asia Cup. So hopefully Coach Tim can be able to use these young guns to really get their legs into it. I think we will really feel not having a Kai Soto around. So it will be Edu's, Tamayos, and maybe Cambao's turn to try to showcase their talent. All three of them have been performing pretty well. I think si AJ Edu, if you take out the injuries, have been very solid sa B-League. I'm sure everyone's feed contains a lot of Carl Tamayo with all of those breakout career-high games. Kevin Tiambao has gotten a ton of coverage despite not having a very good team sa KBL right now. He's getting a ton of shots and a ton of opportunity to score a ton of points. I would like to see him be able to showcase some of his shooting, some of his scoring sa Gilas. But overall, I'm happy. Diba? These are exhibition games, but you can see that this Gilas team is really a team to stay. Diba? We've been praying and praying before, especially before the World Cup, that we can have a team that's consistent, that we can rely on. And I think Coach Tim is the perfect guy right now, and I think that having this maybe not expanding the pool early is gonna pay off in the long run. But I'm happy that kahit papano, diba, we're getting players back. He's expanding the pool even a bit. Puro Ginebra players pa rin. Shout out to Ralph Koo for making the pool over players like Robert Bolick, Terdy Ravena, even si Arvin Tolitinos, one of the top players right now in the PBA. But I think this is what Coach Tim Cone wants. Yung continuity, di ba? As Gab mentioned, you really see it, yung chemistry building, continuity. Hopefully, we continue to have this and we continue to build momentum leading up to the FIBA Asia Cup. But overall, I'm happy and I'm hoping they continue to perform well dito sa tune-up games in Dubai.
Yeah, I think honestly ako hindi ko to napanood. I just saw the highlights pero glad to see that AJ Edu is back. Maganda yung sinabi mo, Gab, na he hasn't missed a step. At least nung nawala si Kai, we get AJ Edu. Another guy that sort of brings yung athleticism siguro that I want to see, si Jamie Malonzo. Still hasn't played even sa PBA. I don't think he's played that much. So hopefully, just like AJ Edu, he gets back and still plays as an athletic wing for Gilas, 'di ba? Na-mention niyo yung future, yung sina Tamayo and Kiambao. I think those guys are the future stars. So for me, tama yung sinabi mo, Mao, like since hindi naman non-bearing naman to, let's give them a few more minutes maybe. I think Kiambao got a lot of minutes in this game. For me, the main highlight here, which Gab already mentioned, was Brownlee had a bad game pero nanalo pa rin, no? Or nakahabol pa rin. So, I think that's a good sign.
Gotta
I
shout
mean,
out
bad...
Saint Dwight Ramos for carrying the team in that fourth quarter. I think hit a turnaround.
He hit 3 threes, tapos may post-up pa siya na fade away ba
in the
yun?
first half. He has scored 11 of his points, 11 of his 15 points in the first half, Sammy. Then his last 2 baskets were in the fourth quarter. I think
Yeah.
Crucial baskets.
Crucial baskets and an assist to AJ Edu. That was him.
For the dunk. Oo nga.
The dunk. His 2 baskets were a turnaround fadeaway from the post over Lewis. Then left-handed layup where the defense failed to help.
Right.
Another post up from against Lewis. So shout out to Saint Dwight, man. He came in balling, carried the team in terms of offense.
Yeah, so I was gonna mention nga. So Dwight, at least he was able to play kasi Maui, 'di ba? Sinabi mo na yun eh, even I think last week or when we were talking about Gilas na baka hindi makalaro si Dwight eh. So imagine if Dwight wasn't here, we would have been screwed. So buti na lang nakalaro si Saint Dwight. I think another guy na joined the pool we talked about, si Troy Rosario joining the pool. I think they're resting him. So he didn't.
I think they're gonna switch it up. I think they're gonna play him maybe in the game later or in the third game. I don't know. But,
I think minamanage ni Tim Cone din yung minutes kasi 'di ba yung Hinebra nasa playoffs pa eh. So medyo pagod pa sila. Even sina Oftana I think nasa playoffs.
Sunod-sunod yung games. 'Di ba today? Parang turn around from yesterday to the game today. Actually, the game
less than 24 hours.
Not the game yesterday pala, sorry. The game
kanina,
early this morning.
Early this morning, less than 24 hours nga. So, we'll see how Troy Rosario will fit with Gilas, pero sanay naman na yon. So, at least we do get another big body. So, we lost Kai, wala na tayong magagawa, but at least AJ Edu's back, at least we get Troy Rosario. So, hopefully, itong mga next few games nila, Coach Tim Cone can still experiment with the team because we know we're not gonna get Kai back this year. So, we need to figure things out habang wala si Kai Soto. Anything else that you want to talk about? Maybe leading into the Lebanon game. Kasi in a few minutes, magsa-start na yung game na yun. Things to watch out for, maybe, Gab?
Oh, well, I did. We talked about KQ. And one of the adjustments to the offense that the Tim Cone made, especially the first half, was he put KQ as the post guy. You know, in the triangle offense, you usually have a guy in the post to initiate the actions from the opposite side of the ball, and then try to create from there. I like that adjustment because if you watch KQ from his days in Lasal, parang katanda na ni KQ, no?
Parang tagal na.
2 months ago lang yan. 3 months ago lang yan.
He's a very good passer. He loves to pass. He's loved to shoot more as his skills have evolved, but we all know that KQ can pass. You know, that was his first and foremost strength when he entered the UAAP college division. That he's a very willing passer, sometimes a risky passer. You know, sometimes you want him to cut down on those risky passes. But you saw him for some stretches in the first half that Tim Cone was running the offense through KQ. And I like that adjustment. I hope we see that later, Sam. As you said, what will you watch out for later? I hope we see some of KQ from the post because among the forwards that they have, aside from Brownlee, he's the other guy who can create from the post. He's the other who can score from the post. So I do want to see that more. What else do I want to see? I hope, yeah, as Maui said, I do hope we see more of Carl. There was a lot of hype from about Carl Tamayo coming into this window, coming into this tournament. That with Kai Sota out, we'll probably see more smaller lineups and have a lot of Carl Tamayo play in more lineups beside that AJ Edu, beside the Junmar Fajardo. So hopefully we see him. The reason why we didn't see him much in the second half against Qatar was, as Maui said, he was kind of cooked on defensive end by Harris. I think Harris scored him 2 or 3 times straight on post up. So Tim Cone went away with that and just put Brownlee on Harris or even si KQ just to put more lateral quickness to guard Harris. The other thing I'm watching for, and this is, I think we're going into a critique of the whole thing or of the lineup. We're very shallow on bigs. We have 2 centers. We have AJ Edu and Junmar. I'm not sure if Japet's gonna be inserted there in one of these games, in one of these upcoming games. But in terms of centers, we have 2. There was a moment also in the first half that that Tim Cone played Edu and Junmar together, but that we saw that a lot with Kai Soto and Junmar. They were starting together. I doubt we'll see more of those. I think they need to get rest because they are gonna relieve each other. So aside from those 2 guys, we don't have any other centers in the lineup. Maybe yun yung role ni Mason Amos as a emergency center, but he's a 4 guy. He's a guy who can stretch 4. It's a stretch 4. So, but honestly, I don't see Mason getting stretch 4 or wing minutes in this team because he has a ton of competition for those minutes. There's Troy Rosario, there's KQ, there's Brownlee, there's Tamayo, and there's Malonzo, and he's the slowest of all those 5 guys, of all those 6 guys. Sorry. So I doubt he's gonna get minutes as a 4 guy or a 3 guy in this lineup. I think he's gonna be the emergency 3rd string center if ever, and knock on wood, if ever see AJ Edo or see Fajardo get into foul trouble or if they get injured, which hopefully not because we're already thin enough on the
knock on wood talaga yan.
knock on wood talaga because we're already very, very thin up front, no? So yun, I don't think we'll be seeing Mason play in any close games. Maybe against lesser competition, maybe we'll see Mason. I don't see a role for him. Sorry, Mason. I know you're a friend of ours, but in this lineup, I don't see how you're supplanting KQ, Carl, Malonzo, Rosario.
Kahit si Octana.
Oh, yung kahit
diba?
si Calvin, no? It's kind of hard. So, yun lang yung observation ko. The guards, Scotty was awesome. The defense by Scotty, his amazing block in the 4th quarter, that's his value. That's Scotty's value, and he showed it right there. So salute to Gilas. Maui, Sammy.
Mau, any last words?
Hopefully I don't think maybe we get a thriller against Lebanon, pero as you mentioned, Sam, si Araki's not playing. But continue to play the young guns. I want to see iba yung for me kasi, to be honest, iba yung excitement ko when I see the young guns play a ton of minutes, when I see the young guns score points. As Gab mentioned, si Mason is probably not gonna get a ton of minutes, but hopefully si Tamayo has a better game. Diba? Kasi I think based on what Tim Cone mentioned in previous press conferences, si Tamayo will be relied upon a lot. Biglang yung timeline with Tamayo was hastened with the Kai Soto injury, diba? With an ACL injury, you're right, Sam. Kai Soto is probably out within the next 9 months to a year, diba? So we will really rely on Carl Tamayo, and hopefully, crossing fingers, si AJ Edu will be healthy for all windows, 'di ba? Kasi ang hirap kay AJ Edu, I think that's the biggest knock talaga on him, 'di ba? He's been very unfortunate with his injuries, but whenever he's there, he's a crowd favorite, 'di ba? I remember watching Gilas games here. Like Dwight Ramos, people are so excited to watch AJ Edu. I could say I've been excited to see AJ Edu. He just brings this edge. Diba? He brings this edge. You when you find players who have a ton of impact on the defensive end, it just brings energy to the crowd, diba? I think it's also one of the reasons why
Energy,
Scotty,
I love that.
si Scotty, diba, when he gets that big rebounds, when he gets that crucial stop, whether it's a block steal, the crowd gets really fired up. And I think AJ Edo also brings that to Gilas, that tenacity and that rim protection, which we sorely lack right now. Si Junmar naman, let's face it, Junmar is not a rim protector. Diba? Maybe Kai Soto is a rim protector, but AJ Edu is an elite is an elite shot blocker, I would say. Diba? He had one of the highest block rates in the NCAA when he was there. He continues to have it when he's in Japan. I think he's one of the top in terms of rebounding rate and block rate in Japan. So I'm excited for AJ Edu. Maybe this period na wala si Kai Soto, he'll prove us, he'll turn a lot of heads around on both ends. I love also yung slashing kasi niya eh. I think that fits pretty well with what Coach Tim wants with the triangle offense, diba? And he also has this outside shot somewhat, not that consistent, but to a certain degree. Maybe yung shot creation niya is where it's lacking, but I'm excited sa young guns natin. Hopefully we see them play more, especially against Egypt, the last game. This is sa Doha, and maybe against Hong Kong in FIBA Asia, the qualifiers, the last few games.
Okay. Last few words before we go. Shout out again to the fans over there. Sana continue the support for Gilas in the next two games. For the Gilas team, I would suggest take the stairs, avoid the elevators muna for now. We don't want to get stuck on the elevator again. Nakakatawa pa si Junmar, may kape pa eh. May kape pa.
May pick up pa siya.
Kasi lumalabas siya, may teacup, ang liit-liit, ang laki-laki niya, no? So, ingat na lang sa elevator, guys. Gab.
Yung other funny thing, yung before we go, you talk about the elevator incident. Another funny thing from the game, a ref called a 5-second free throw violation on Carl Tamayo in the first half. That was one of the most egregious calls. He invented a rule mid-game. 5-second free throw violation on Carl Tamayo. Sayang, I think those were the only free throws for Carl Tamayo the entire game. He made the first. Then the second, the ref like a 5-second free throw violation. It's 10 seconds, bro. Not 5. It's 10.
Go ask Giannis. Paano pa si Giannis, di ba?
Kung si Giannis, di ba? Sa FIBA, every time he goes to the free throw line, automatic yun.
Deads. Okay, so that's it for today's episode. Our reactions to the Gilas versus Qatar game. Watch out for the Lebanon game. We'll react to that soon. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.